Hey everybody, how's it going today? Welcome to today's installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs. Today we're going to do something that I don't usually handle too much of. We're doing some aftermarket accessories on a 2019 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. We're doing headlights today. So there's actually an interesting story behind the headlights in here now. Now, I'm sure everybody who watches this channel religiously probably knows at this point, I'm not the biggest fan of aftermarket accessories. That, of course, depending on what we're talking about here. In this case, we are talking about something electrical, and electrical accessories aren't, they could be hit or miss. In this particular situation, there is something weird going on with the current aftermarket lights that are here, and it is kind of a bizarre situation. So there seems to be no high beam function. So yeah, the top and the sides look like they are lit up here. I don't think the ring is on, I can't tell. This is actually the second set that was put in here. The original set had no working high beams at all, apparently, and this replacement set, she was also having problems with the high beams. Alright, so like I said, she's a 2019. She's got the big 3.6 in it, and I can see some of our wiring. Now, from what I can see, it doesn't look like anything was cut or spliced in, which is good. So whoever the business that did this did it in a way that should not make it too difficult for us to remove and replace with the new ones. So the first matter of business is we're going to have to get the grill off. If I shake the grill, that entire piece is moving. So that literally may be it, and then there's maybe a couple of bolts or screws back behind that. So yeah, let's start with getting these push pins out of here carefully and see where that takes us. Alright, so we got our 6 push pins out. No casualties, which is great. This thing's still really new. 13,000 miles, so not enough time for them to really get worn. As we can see, it makes the whole front of this grill here loose. Alright, so it appears that the only thing really holding this lower part of the grill on is just some good old clips that just require us to actually, grab and pull, as scary as that sounds. So we're going to need 2 hands for this, but the 6 clips on the top, and then just a bunch of like a pressure style, clip along the bottom here, and that should give us our grill after a few good tugs, and should be good to go from there. Yeah, so on the back side, as we can see, it's got the pressure style tabs that go all the way along the bottom and underneath the headlights there. So that's all it takes to get that off, and now we can access our headlight assembly just fine. Alright, so we threw the grill into the way back of the Jeep so nothing happens to it while it's out here. And now we can see our headlights. Those are crusty looking already. Wow. Well, alright then. So, at this point, since this isn't factory, I'm not sure if this here is a factory assembly or if this is for this aftermarket light here. Judging from the looks of these bolts here, they look like they have been messed with. My guess is maybe they are part of this assembly. Probably the same thing on the other side. So I guess it probably will not hurt to remove that entire thing there anyway, to at least get started. So those might be maybe 10. 10 happens to be our lucky number. Okay, there's the 3 bolts there. They are all the same size. And now this guy should just come right off. Alright, and then here's our wiring. So it looks like this point here, that's our factory connector. So the rest of these, we should just be able to disconnect. They did splice something into this. But everything else is, where's this one go? What did they do here? They got this guy running up along the top here. Is it going to the other light for something? It's right there. And I think it is. It looks like it is. I wonder why. But at this point, we can connect from our factory connection here. Might need 2 hands to do it. Hold on one sec. Don't fall. Okay. Alright, so there we go. So this here, this is our factory connector from Jeep. And everything else tied to this is all part of this lighting assembly. So they plugged this thing into there. That'll actually unplug, it looks like. Might need to go get some scissors and cut this zip tie off. So yeah, let's go get some scissors, cut that, and see if this guy here actually will come out of that. Alright, so upon cutting the zip tie, yes, that one long wire does have a spot where it unplugs. So now this remaining wire here is the one traveling underneath this cover here to the other lighting assembly. And that's it. This light is free now. So I wonder what the point of that one there was. But for the most part, as we've seen, everything plugged right in to the factory harness, which is good. So our new lights, everything should work straight from there as well. I'm looking at this one red wire. It looks like they may have actually cut, because it looks like it starts off as a brown wire from this connector. They cut it, or they spliced this red wire into the brown wire or something. They did something weird. I don't know. I don't know. Alright, so now let's hit up the passenger side. Okay, we got the same 3 bolts out. Try to set this down here. And it looks like that wire that reaches from there to here, there is no break in it at this point. So it is one piece running to the side that we just unplugged from the other light. They didn't plug a push pin back in somewhere. So this here is our factory connector. Alright, so there was that. And there's another wire they spliced in. Weird. It's always weirder too, they use different color wire. This almost looks like a relay, almost like a relay pack, but maybe, I'm not sure. Alright, and then we could probably pull this across. Alright, there we go. Alright, so that entire guy's out now. Overall, they really didn't do too bad a job. I really wasn't know what to expect when we were going into this situation here. But for the most part, looks like it's been kept pretty decent. Hopefully we won't have to do any of this with the new lights. At least I really hope not. That's just more time consuming. Interesting how they come in an unmarked box. Looks like a shoe box. Anyway. So, APPAREL. Not a sponsor. Uh-oh. Why does this say 18? Oh boy. Oh boy. That's interesting. Hopefully maybe they just didn't print new instructions for the, you know. But here's the new ones. This box here is just the lights. The box right there on the roof of the Saab is our wiring and retrofit. Yeah, so they're kind of buried in there. So, oh, that's kind of concerning. Hopefully this was like printed before they made 19s, but it should be the same body style. For 18 anyway. Okay, let's take a look in the other shoebox. Okay, so Raxium. So this one actually says 18 and up. So that's weird that the lights themselves would say 97 to 18, which, I mean, it's a Wrangler. There really wasn't a whole lot of change in its lifetime still. This also works for the Gladiator for 2020. So what do we got here? So we've got a bag of opened up clips already. We've got our, looks like our rings. This is already opened up. There were screws laying everywhere. Man, don't lose that. It was probably supposed to go in this bag, which is already opened. Very interesting. Hopefully they're all here. Alright, so that's one ring there. We have a small harness here. We have another ring. Other jiggly bits down there. Alright, somebody probably ordered this for another style Wrangler or something. It didn't work. That's probably why these are open. Just hope all those fasteners are in there. Alright, so let me take a closer look at these instructions here. See what we can get to fit with our Wrangler and go from there. Alright, so the kit, 2 bags of these little things here, the fasteners, the 2 housing rings, 2 of these connectors, and then once I had the headlight removed, we had another connector underneath it, as well as this LED canvas, which is an anti-flicker thing. Alright, so assuming the other stuff, there's stuff like this underneath this one also. Yes, okay. Alright, so now we just gotta figure out with this retrofit kit what we need to do to get these into there. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is pull out the ring that has the L on it for left. In this case, they're referring to the driver's side. And we have to pretty much fasten these pieces to it. Those are basically going to be our mounting points, if that makes sense. Alright, so here's what we have so far for the driver's side. So those little individual pieces also are stamped with L's and R's. Most of them, if they're specific. I think that one was too, maybe. But anyway, so just kind of match the picture up. So we got the one bolted on here, we got the one bolted on there, and we got that one bolted there. And for the most part, they only fit one way. So they have weird cutouts and stuff that kind of help you line them up for the most part. So we got this thing done, and very carefully fitted on this car. Now we go on to the next step. Alright, so per the instructions, it wants us to install the rings first. And we have dowels, you know, so there's a pin there and a pin here that'll help line it up. There's no pin over here. And then from here, we take, you know, the 3 bolts that came out of those holes originally, and now we just fasten the ring in first. Alright, so we got all those snug down. Let's go look at the next step. This part's pretty easy. So now we just take the harness that came with the adapter kit and we plug it into our factory harness. You're not going to be able to see, I'm sorry. Okay, so we got a click. So there we go. So the factory harness is plugged in. Alright, so to install the actual headlight, now we have to use the tiny Allen key that they gave us. And we need to remove this screw here. We need to remove this one here on the bottom. And we need to remove this one. And that's going to remove this outer ring, which is basically the thing that holds the new headlight in place. So let me get to that. I'm going to use 2 hands because I really don't want to lose any of these screws. So here's where it's going to get a little interesting. So we have our new light here. And this harness that came with the retrofit kit is just ready for this thing to be plugged in and, you know, ready to go. That being said, we've got this, you know, anti-flicker box here. And that also will plug into here, and then this will plug into that. Not 100% sure if we're going to need this or not. We might. I'm going to put it on anyway just to see. So the thing that I'm a little, you know, I got questions about are the 2 wires here. Now granted, this light also works for the older style Jeeps also. I don't have anything to connect these two, so I'm not sure what these wires will run on this. I have to look in the other manual, but if we plug just the harness in, then everything on this light should probably work. So yeah, so let me take a look at that. Other than that, it's ready to be plugged in and you know, ready to be tested. So according to the instructions, the one is for the turn signal light, and what it wants me to do is to actually wire in, you know, splice in a wire to the turn signal circuit. Yeah, I don't think we're doing that today. So the wiring here on this, you know, the factory light, because the factory light doesn't have a turn signal, you know, wire. Basically, it's got 3 wires. There's a couple of cutoffs there, but, you know, from the factory. But all 3 wires here, I mean, I'm assuming one's for the low beam, one's for the high beam, and the other one's a ground. So in order to actually get into the turn signal, you know, to wire the turn signal up to this, we're going to have to actually tap into the wiring harness that provides the turn signal. And we're not doing that today. If I have to do that later on, that's fine. But other than that, this thing should work ready to go, you know, with this. So let's go ahead and plug it in. I'm going to put this thing on anyway. Also, and then we'll we'll hook it up and see if we actually have a nice working light here before we get everything back together on this side. Alright, I left the anti-flicker thing off for the time being because trying to plug this in, it was pushing the connectors out of this thing, so they won't go in smoothly. So I might need to maybe get some grease or something, but I got the original one there to work. Let's see what it does. Alright, so we got just the regular headlight switch on. And yeah, the ring is lit. Alright. It's a loud little guy. High beam. Whoa, beautiful. This ring looks like it works a lot better than it did on the other one. Alright, so we'll shut that off. Alright. Cool. So the only real difference, I think, what it does with the turn signal from what I was reading is the ring, I think, it changes orange when you go to use the turn signal. I think that's the only difference. But everything here looks like it is working just fine as is. So definitely, you know, I'm going to hold on to this. I don't think we may not need this. If she wants me to actually wire in the turn signal thing, I can't do it today. But for the most part, this really wasn't all that bad to deal with. So if I have to come back and revisit this, then it won't be too difficult to do. It's actually a little bit easier than I thought. Didn't think that we would have to actually, you know, put these things together, but that's okay. It really wasn't all that bad. Alright, so now we're going to peel this plastic off, get the light situated in this ring, put the holder ring on there, and I guess we can just move on to the next light. Alright, so I just went ahead and installed the other side. Take a look at them both. So we already know that that side works fine, and it looks like this side is working fine too. So we'll go ahead and do the high beams. And yep, and whew, those are bright. Those look pretty cool though. I really like that ring. Now it's time to just reinsert the push pins. All done. Alright, so these lights here, she had also changed from amber to the white. And those are just the parking lights. So they're not amber anymore. So I have just the parking lights on. Because for a moment I was thinking maybe those were the daytime running lights. But I really don't think this car is equipped with that feature from factory. So if we go to the turn signal, it's still amber beside it, or it changes amber. So it goes from white to amber when it's in turn signal mode. And then if I turn all of our lights on now, there's our finished product. I did push the high beams on. My bad. There, so there we are, just our regular headlights. Fog lights are going to be next at some point. If we have the fog lights on, and yeah, the indicator's on. They still look incandescent. But there we go. Yeah, these lights I think look a lot better actually than the other one. It's a similar style, but they do look like they're brighter already. And I don't remember seeing the halo light up. I don't remember seeing the halo lit up on the other lights when we had the lights on, but so yeah. Does this thing do anything when you have the remote out of it? Like when you go to lock the car or something? Let's see. Let's go ahead and close this up. I'm gonna put the old lights in here with all of the other accessories that we just got that we didn't use, like those additional wires and the instructions. Since these lights are actually still good, just in case something were to happen, she's got a backup pair. Alright. So if we go up here, I don't know what this car does originally, but we'll lock it. Okay, so just the side lights light up. Okay, and then the lights do actually come on when you unlock it, so cool. So that'll look pretty sweet at night too. Alright, so like I mentioned, I'll probably, I'm going to mention it to her about the turn signal wiring to the light, and then I think the halo is what they said changes color, if I'm not mistaken. But this is definitely not my area of expertise. This was actually pretty simple considering the fact that it's more of a plug-and-play design rather than an entire splice and wire and relays and who knows. But that wasn't too bad. Didn't know that we were gonna have to actually build the actual lighting housing, but I guess it makes sense if it's a retro kit. Those lights apparently were for an older style Jeep, but the housing and such is what actually made it work with this, along with that wiring. So I think we're done here. I think we're done. The only other thing that I want to say that we might have to do to it, and it's still way too bright to do it now, but we might have to adjust the aiming of these lights. So we won't know exactly how well they're going to light up the area until, well, it gets dark, and I won't have this thing for that long, so that might be something that we will have to do. But again, for the most part on this vehicle, just getting that grill off with those 6 pins and pulling the spring clips out, it's really not that challenging of a task. I'm actually rather thankful that this particular car has that nice design on it to make all these adjustments and such. Same thing when we do the turn signal wiring, which, well, of course it's padded, but we'll have to probably splice into this here with another piece of wire, and that'll apparently get those to work. So other than that, we're done. Something a little bit different on today's video. Like I said, I don't usually do aftermarket stuff, but I figure since we're actually diving into it for the first time, it'd be kind of interesting to document. If you did enjoy this, thumbs up, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time. I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and take care.